Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today I wanted to go over a question asked by Emmet Fox, and he's asked, what is scientific prayer? Now our idea of prayer on this channel, what we preach is that it means allowing ideas to flow with and through you. So whatsoever you want to achieve, if you're going to pray for it, you're going to essentially allow that idea to become manifested with and through you. So you no longer wait for somebody else to do it for you or hope that God blesses you and then you might hopefully receive it. No, we're going to take control over this and make stuff happen in the way it was meant to be. Now, first I wanted to go over what Emmet Fox said, and then we're going to expand upon the concept. He started this out by describing it as follows. Scientific prayer or spiritual treatment is really the lifting of your own consciousness above the level where you have met your problem. If only you can rise high enough in thought, the problem will solve itself. This is really the only problem you have, to raise in consciousness. The more difficult the problem, well, the more deeply rooted it is in your thoughts, the higher you will have to rise. Now, what is called a small trouble will yield to a slight raise in consciousness. What is called a serious difficulty will require a relatively higher rise. What is called a terrible danger or a hopeless problem will require a considerable rise in consciousness to overcome it. But that is the only difference. Do not waste time trying to straighten out your own or other people's problems by manipulating thought that gets you nowhere, but raise your consciousness and the action of God will do the rest. Jesus healed sick people and reformed many sinners by raising his consciousness above the picture they presented. He controlled the wind and the waves in the same way. He raised the dead because he was able to get as high in consciousness as is necessary to do this. To raise your consciousness, you must positively withdraw your attention from the picture for the time being, and then concentrate gently upon spiritual truth. You may do this by reading the Bible or any spiritual book that appeals to you, by going over any hymn or poem that helps you in this way, or by use of one or more affirmations, just as you like. I know many people who have secured the necessary elevation of consciousness by browsing at random through the Bible. A man I know was saved in a terrible shipwreck by quickly reading the 91st Psalm. Another man healed himself of a supposedly hopeless disease by working on the one affirmation, God is love, until he was able to realize something of what that greatest of all statements must really mean. If you work with affirmations, be careful not to get tense, but there is no reason why you should not employ all these methods in turn, and also any others that you can think of. Sometimes a talk with a spiritual person gives you just the lift that you need. It matters not how you rise, so long as you do rise. Now that is what he had to say on the matter. Scientific prayer. He described it as rising in consciousness. How do you rise in consciousness? It's very easy. All you have to do is use your imagination to first and foremost see what you're after. So if there's a problem, what would be the solution? By contemplating through your imagination what the solution would look like, you are already raising your consciousness to begin with, because you wouldn't be able to perceive it through imagination if your consciousness wasn't rising up to the level on which it exists. So this is what you want to understand if you want to make prayers work for you, is you're going to have to start seeing and feeling within yourself the solution that you're after, as if it's already a reality. Now this ties beautifully back into another quote from scriptures where it was written that you have to feel and believe as if you've already received, and then you shall have it, then you shall get it. You know, the sentences are always different concerning which Bible you read, but that's sort of the point of that quotation. Again, it is saying that you have to see as if, you have to feel as if it's already a reality. So if you have a financial goal and you're praying for more money, you're going to have to see yourself through the imagination, which means spiritual perception, as if you're already in possession of that money. You're going to simply feel that you are wealthy. So it depends on the sort of amount of money that you're after for you, but once you start doing that, then something else starts to occur through which you can prove once and for all that prayer really does work and was meant to be used in this manner. We have to take the quotation from scripture literally. You have to feel as if you already have it, and then you shall have it. So what's going to happen is that you lift up your consciousness, spiritually speaking, to the good you desire. You connect with it on a spiritual inner level of your being already. And then as you stay hooked up to that dream, to that vision, to that vibration of energy, you could say, it starts to compel you to move in a different direction. And then you become magnetized to actually walk in the direction of your own dream. That is also what it means to pray and move your feet. You don't just sit still, but when the inspiration and compulsion comes to act, it will feel very natural to take the action, because you can literally sense inside of yourself, this is what I should do in order for this dream to manifest, in order for this prayer to be answered. So many people, they might pray and then they sit and wait for God to do something for them, and then they might complain that prayer doesn't work for them, or that God might not want them to have the thing that they're praying for. But that's again looking at it from the wrong angle. What we preach here is that prayer is allowing idea to move with and through you. We are not preaching here that we have to look to God in the sense that we're going to have to ask Him to help and do things for us, and if it doesn't happen, well then He must not want it for us. We are preaching here that your own consciousness is one with God. Therefore, you're going to have to turn to your own mind in order to solve your problem. Now, this is where people mess it up, sadly, is that they start looking to the world and they can't see the solution. Obviously, they're going to stay stuck. But what did we just say? We're going to look to the solution through our imagination, so we're not even looking at the outside world at all any longer. We are perceiving through imagination what we're after, what would be the result, the solution that we would like to manifest. And as we perceive that inwardly, we are automatically raised in consciousness. And as long as we keep our willpower, our ability to focus aimed at that perception of what we perceive through the imagination, then we stay magnetized to move towards it, and it will become a reality for us sooner or later. This we can prove for ourselves, so there should no longer be any doubt that scientific prayer is the way to go. We don't want to just sit down and pray. We're going to have to be involved in it on a spiritual inner level. That is what real prayer or scientific prayer is all about. So I hope you take this into account when you're working on your own dreams in the upcoming months, or for the rest of your life, or the upcoming years. I mean, it depends on how old you are and how long you still have left, but we just want to do it with the time we do have left to learn and control these powers that we have, so we start to know more and more about the eternal nature of our own beings, because that is what ultimately sets you free from bondage and from all the struggles you face throughout your physical journey. These journeys that we are on individually can sometimes be so tough that we forget about the bigger picture to begin with, and then no wonder it becomes unbearable at times if we forget about the eternal nature of who we really are and the powers we really possess. But these videos hopefully remind you that yes, you do have a power, and the beautiful part is it lies within you, so you don't even have to go outside of your home if you're uncomfortable with that even. You just have to close your eyes and go into the real home, which is your own mind, your own consciousness, your own awareness is directing the whole show of your life. Of course, stuff can happen where you're like, I didn't like this, I didn't ask for this. Is this also my own fault? Well, yes and no. It actually depends on the situation. People might do stuff that is so gruesome to you, where we can agree, okay, you didn't ask for that, obviously, but hey, if you want to change stuff around for the better for yourself, better learn more and more about the eternal nature of who you are, so you can overcome all the obstacles you face in your own beautiful way from then on out, for all of eternity, because this will also benefit you beyond the grave. That's the beautiful part about the spiritual self that you have, that you are, that is behind the mask of the ego. You see, the ego doesn't understand prayer. It only looks at the physical world the way it is and can't see anything else beyond it. But the spiritual self knows, and in knowing will lie your strength. If you want to see more videos about Emmet Fox, be sure to check out the playlist in the description box below. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.